UFC 324 is nearly here. Justin The Highlight Gaethje versus Paddy the Baddy Pimblett. This is a monumental matchup for the first Paramount card between an old dog and a young and upcoming prospect. They'll be fighting for intern lightweight gold and the opportunity to fight Ilia Topuria later in the year. I'm leaning towards Justin to finally right the wrong, get that intern title, and go on to conquer the division and become an undisputed champion. And here is my reason. But before we get any further, the rankings and the pre-facts. Justin the Gaethje, he's number 4. Paddy, he's number 5. Naturally, Arman Sarukian, he is the odd man out. He should be in this matchup. He's actually floating around as an unofficial backup, so who knows if Justin's pork rib lip, ingrown hair ends up pulling him out of the fight. I don't expect it to. I believe him on that. It's not Staff. Hopefully it's not Staff. But regardless, Arman, he's flown around. Ilya currently battling a nasty divorce, but hopefully we'll be back soon to unify the belts. Justin, he's been around the sport for a minute now. 26-5. Let's see, 9-5 in the UFC. The record doesn't look as good as it is, but you have to consider the fact that he has fought the who's who of this division. Habib, he's obviously fought for his first unification belt. Fought Charles for his second crack at undisputed gold. He's fought Dustin Poirier twice, Rafael Fiziev twice, Max Holloway, Chandler. He ended as I cry saying this, he ended the hopes for Tony versus Habib, Donald Cerrone, Edson Barbosa, good old James Vick, and even Eddie Alvarez before his short UFC career ended. So he's fought the who's who, which kind of gives him a little bit of excuse for this 9-5 record. Does not look as good as it is, but he's also one of the most prolific fighters in the sport. He has 14 performance bonuses across 14 fights, which is unheard of. It's a record. I think it's a record even if you had only like 9 fights, let alone 14. So expect fireworks when he goes in there. People give him slack, but I would say he still is looking as good as ever. Maybe a little slower. I think he's a little more cautious, but he still goes out to cause damage. The reverse side, we have Paddy, 23-3, a lot younger, 31. But he still has a very nice record in the UFC so far. 7-0, undefeated, 5 finishes, 2 decisions. The biggest knock against him is compared to what we just saw with Justin, he does not have as many recognizable names, casual or otherwise. His most prolific win, you could argue, would be me. It's even hard to say because Tony at that time was on like a 5 or 6 fight losing streak. Chandler was on, I think, a 2 or 3 losing streak. But yeah, like Michael Chandler, decent name. King Green, modest name. Tony was a name, but no longer. Jared Gordon, reputable. Jordan Levitt, not so much. The point being is he hasn't tasted defeat yet, but he has also not faced anywhere close to the competition Justin has. And that's actually partially why I'm leaning towards Justin in this whole fight to begin with. It's a nice matchup, and as I say, Justin definitely on the older side. I believe he is 37. Yeah, 37. I sniped it. He's 37, like I said, 31 on Paddy. So Paddy's got the youth on his side. But as I've followed both these men's career, Justin, like I said, he's faced some extremely stiff competition. And while he has not always performed the brightest when the lights were there, he has still had some amazing performances against upper-level competition that Paddy has yet to face. Example being his knockout of Dustin Poirier in their second fight. Justin has performed reasonably well when needed, and Paddy there's still a level of unknown as to how good he actually is when he fights, like I said, that top-level competition. And that's where I think there's some real concern because Justin, he is a dangerous, dangerous dog. He might not be as well-rounded as Paddy, but I think there's 2 things. There's like probably 3 key points to think of when I think of Justin, especially in this matchup. 1, those leg kicks. We haven't seen them as much, but don't get me wrong. Just because he's facing a grappler, go look at his fight with Habib. He's not afraid to throw leg kicks. I think he has some of the most hard to time to check and to obviously catch leg kicks in the game. Not to mention, I believe he has like the thickest bones or something along those lines. Not as thick as Yoel Romero's cranium, but I believe he has like one of the thickest shins, hence why he has some of the most dangerous leg kicks that you'll ever find. So I believe those will be a weapon. And not to mention those just slow down the mobility and all that and make it a little harder probably to grapple, not to mention generate power in your punches once you've lost, let's say, your lead foot. But I think once he does enough of those leg kicks, then he starts going head hunting, especially in a 5-round fight. And that's where it could be some issues. Point two, I would say, is that he's going to have some of the most power that Paddy will have faced against an opponent. Chandler, I would argue, maybe has a little bit more power, but it's not as like precise. And that's why I said Justin, he's not as chaotic as he used to be. He's still a highlight in the sense that he's going out for finishes and he causes damage, but he's not as reckless. And it seems like he's been a lot more precise with things like his uppercut and his overhand, especially his jab. And even though he's a scouser and has a scouser chin and he's impervious to being knocked down, let alone knocked out, there's definitely real concern Paddy has to face. Even with Chandler, he was getting cracked a little bit here and he's getting cracked a little bit there. Jared, he got cracked a lot, a considerable amount. If you remember this fight, definitely a close fight. We'll give Paddy the win, but he showed that, you know, when his chin's out there, it's there to be cracked. And Jared, not the most unpowerful fighter, but by no means as powerful as Justin is. And again, that's where the concern is going to raise. Those leg kicks are going to be there. Once the leg kicks start doing a damage, and he only needs, I feel like, less than 10, couple in the first round, maybe a couple in the second round. And then he starts going head hunting, especially if Paddy's going to have to scrap. And that's where I think that damage is going to start coming in. And we're going to be seeing if that scouser chin can hold up. And the third point I was thinking is that this is the most hotly debated topic, is that obviously we've seen that Justin, his wrestling is, how should I say, it's 50-50. He has the credentials of having collegiate level wrestling. And we've seen, yes, he can get takedowns and he's got modest takedown defense against lower level and medium level takedown artists. But, and Habib, I wouldn't even say Habib's the best wrestler. That he's like he's not an ultra, like he's a very good wrestler, but he's more of a grappler in the sense that he's really good at, you know, pushing against the cage, the leg trips, all that good stuff. And obviously in his fight with Justin, he eventually would catch those leg kicks or corner him and, you know, do a double leg, this or that. And he would easily take Justin down and easily pass his guard, as we saw with this finish. And there's definitely some concern there because Paddy, one of his underlying weapons is his grappling. He's obviously got a scouser chin and is willing to crack and can finish on the feet. But the real concern, I think, and that's where this fight will most likely be decided, is if it goes down to the ground. And if it goes to the ground, I am highly concerned because it feels like Justin, I trust he studies his jiu-jitsu, but I have this feeling that like he's not even close to the credibility he needs to be if he's supposed to be chasing undisputed gold in one of the most skilled divisions where grappling seems to be more and more prevalent. There's definitely concern there, but Justin has shown that if he can defend the takedowns, a lot of his opponents can't go that, you know, that full 3 rounds, let alone 5 rounds without taking considerable damage. And the more damage you take, the harder it is to get a takedown. Tony was trying, I think Tony Ferguson by round 3 or 4 was trying to go for Imanari rolls and this, that. Way slower. The damage was starting to wear on him, and it was very easy for Justin to track it. Paddy, obviously, is, I think, a lot superior wrestler than someone like Tony or some of the other fighters even that Justin's fought. So that, I think that is going to be the biggest concern. But again, I go back to this matchup, and I still lean Justin. I don't think he's going to get finished because I trust in the scouser chin. I trust that Paddy is as tough as he says he is, and this could be a war. But I just feel like it's going to come down to Justin's going to be able to stop the takedowns early in those first, second rounds, unlike what he couldn't do against Habib. And even Charles, when he got cracked by Charles, he wasn't able to get back to his feet and was submitted. He was heavily hurt, and that is obviously always a risk. You get cracked, your takedown defense points drop by, like, you know, all of them. But I do feel like Justin is going to be able to stop the takedowns. Once he stops the takedowns, it's going to be a really tough uphill battle for Paddy. And Once that's the case, and this is the stat I was going to look at, it's actually impressive that Paddy is pretty close at 5.5 strikes per minute landed. But Justin, at the end of the day, he's got the advantage on the power. I think he might have the advantage on the overall boxing, and he has that sneaky head kick we never knew about with Dustin. And I think it's going to get it might not be as pronounced as it was when it was him versus Tony, but I have this feeling we're going to get a repeat all these years later. And Justin's going to go. He's going to snub the fans of a Paddy versus Ilya rivalry built on, was it hand soap? Just like he snubbed it, was it 6-7 years ago with Tony versus Habib. Fans are not going to like it because it's not going to be good for the sport. Justin's already on his retirement tour. He's not here to stay the long haul. Justin is, or what am I saying? Paddy's here for the long haul. Justin is not. But I just feel like this is just something that Paddy, he's going to have to perform nearly perfectly or he's going to get pieced up. And the last point I'll say too is, you think scoring, I said this, I think with a different prediction, but Justin, his style, with the way that they're actually really focusing on damage, and as they always should, but now they're actually following the rule books, those judges. Justin, I feel like, is inherently going to get favored on the scoring because his shots seem to always draw a reaction from both the crowd and his opponent because of how much impact they do. And he seems to land pretty clean. And yeah, I just feel like it's one of those things where the moment Paddy starts either bleeding or really showing some of that wear and tear on his face, especially his leg, it's going to be Justin's to win. Like round by round, he's going to steal some rounds. And next thing you know, it's going to be Paddy's going to have to really chase either a finish on the feet or he's going to really be pushing for some takedowns to get some jiu-jitsu going. And at that point, you take that much damage, it's just not viable. So I'm going Justin by decision. And let me know what you think in the comments below. Do you think Justin has a chance? Do you think he can stop the takedown? And do you think he has the advantage on the feet? Or do you think this is Paddy's time? Is it Paddy potentially the 2026 fighter of the year? He gets through Justin. He gets through, was it Ilya Topuria in the summer? And does he defeat Arman by the end of the year? He would be the fighter of the year. But yeah, let me know in the comments. Let me know what you think. And let's watch tomorrow. Let's get after it. Paramount Plus. Let's go.